Okay, so welcome back, and now we're going to trace the images. So as always, we want to kind of set things up. Here's something we want to do. We want to make sure, and we've already got over here, that this is locked. And then for every item that you're going to trace, you want to make sure that you turn everything else off. This is important for two reasons. One, it's going to make sure that you are not going to be confused by the additional tracings that you have from the other ones. The other is, and this is the more important one, if you're going really, really fast, you can oftentimes think that you're going to be drawing on one layer that you're looking at, but the computer is going to draw on another layer that's actually selected. It will not allow me, if I go up here and try with the pen tool to draw, you can see there's that little cross there. It will not allow me to draw on any layer that is not visible. So that's another reason it's really important. So let's zoom in here. And we're going to trace my face. So another thing we want to do before we do this, you can see, as always, Illustrator wants you to draw with a filled in white fill and a black stroke. We don't want to do that. We want to have no fill whatsoever so we can kind of see where we're tracing. And instead of black, I can use a color that makes a lot more sense. It's easier to see, like green or something, or we can go right into a flesh tone because we can always change that later. For this, let's just try to do something that's kind of a flesh tone, that's close to my flesh tone. And we want this to kind of be a middle color. Once again, it doesn't have to be perfect. That looks about good. All right. And now we'll use my space bar to kind of go around this. P for pen, and then we're just going to start. So once again, my head is probably a little bit higher here than where it's showing in the item. But it's not going to matter too much because I'm going to go over top of that later with the hair layer. And as always, just having your hand on the shift button, and you can really zoom in to make sure that you're doing a really nice job here. I'm going to kind of speed through a lot of these just because I don't want to, and you can see we've got that little hook there. We don't want that, so we're going to click there. Now this is where it's really important to kind of understand what you're doing. If you were drawing the face, you'd want to kind of go around under my double chin there. But we're not drawing the face. We're actually defining the outlines, the colors. So instead of going around there, we're going to keep going underneath the skin. So we're just going to have one shape, not two. All right, get that. I know that I'm going to just basically have a shirt under here, so I can just kind of get that. And then once we get in here, we'll zoom in. Once again, if things aren't perfect, remember you can always kind of come back and fix them later. Okay, we're back to where the head would be. We'll just kind of give that a little bit of a circular feel. All right. So, and we can always go back, and if we want to fix things up a little bit, we can use our white arrow. I can click on this and then just kind of move things to make them work better. If I can grab that handle for some reason, there we go. All right. But there we go. We've got our first kind of outline, our midtones. Now we want to go to our second one. So we're going to turn off this, go up to our shadows, click on that, and the same thing's going to happen. Here though, we're going to use, before we start drawing, let's use a slightly darker color, make it maybe a little bit red once again. These don't have to be perfect. And we're going to go through and we're going to draw all of the shadows. Now this is something where you're going to really kind of define things. And this is also an important part of how your definition of a shadow might differ, where that line is from somebody else. All right, I know the lip's going to go over top of that, so I don't have to have that perfect. Okay, and I accidentally hit the P button, so I can just go back to here where the anchor point is. You can see I've got a line there, so I can start drawing again. Remember, we are kind of, it's more like we're sculpting than we are actually drawing, so it's a little bit different. We're really kind of trying to define where those shadows are. Now right now we're starting with just the shadows, the midterms, and the highlights. I know that these highlights here might come through and help a little bit later. But what we're really trying to do, and once again, I know that the hair is going to kind of define that. Oops. Command Z is your buddy. But what we're really trying to do is kind of sort of define that little, oops, section there. The shape of the face using the shadow aspect to really kind of get a sense of the shape. So that's our big kind of shadow, but there's other ones here like that one. Etc. All right. So when we come back, I'll have gone through, gotten all the shadows, all the highlight, and the hair.